RWN-TV, you are now live.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to a new edition of Real World News TV Live on Facebook. I'm one of your co-hosts, Reggie Kearney, and I also have with me my other co-host, Sharon Taffet, and we also have our producer extraordinaire, Bree Love, all the way from Las Vegas, Nevada. Sharon is stationed in New York somewhere, and we don't really know where, but she is in New York. And I'm outside in DMV, outside of Washington, D.C. How's everyone doing tonight?
Plum tuckered.
Okay, wake up. We got to do.
I
We got an
know.
hour. Okay.
Try not to yawn.
No, don't say that. Don't even say the word yawn.
Yawning is complete.
Oh my gosh, you make.
Yawning is complete. Tonight we want to look at the safety of our water throughout this country, and one city in particular we want to take a look at tonight is Flint, Michigan. Okay, and we're going to talk about whether or not, based on news reports, that the water is still safe, or according to some people, it's
Bullshit.
Okay. During the crisis, the water was deemed unfit, and the people of Flint, Michigan, the residents of Flint, Michigan, couldn't use the water. And as you saw on TV, there were many instances where donations were being made of bottled water for the people to use. But sometimes last week, Michigan Governor Rick Snyder announced that testing has shown the levels of lead in the city's water were below the federal limit, and the water's quality is well within the standards. Now, I wonder, did he drink any, or has he been drinking any? But however, according to Dr. Mona Hannah Estisha, a pediatrician, who was among the first who noticed rising levels of blood lead levels in Flint's children, said in a tweet that he's wrong. And she makes a good point here. Until all the lead pipes are replaced, states should make available bottled water and filters to Flint residents. So basically, if you don't change the piping, you're still going to have that ongoing problem.
Mm-hmm.
So, and recently we had the president of the United States bombing
Syria
because of poisonous gas is being dropped onto the population there by the president of Syria. And I saw someone posted on Facebook and asked the question, who's going to drop a bomb on Flint for the poisoning of the kids in Flint? So it's still a pretty serious problem. So how can they, with everything that's going on in Michigan, concern that from the governor on down to the community politicians, the mayor and the city council, how can they come out and say that the water is lead-free and it's safe? Your thoughts, Sharon?
I don't trust a damn word coming out of their mouth. I mean, since 2014, 2012, it's been on again, off again, on again, off again. First there'd be a warning. There's fecal bacteria. For a few weeks, and they flush the system. Now it's good. It's okay as long as you boil the water. Then a couple of months later, it's lead, and a couple of months later, it's something else. It's complete and utter depraved indifference, and the lack of attention that this is getting on a national scale to me is mind-boggling. Basically, we've got a state being poisoned. So far, only 12 people have died, I think, of Legionnaires. But I think as the years come, we're going to see untold numbers of negative health effects of the children and people, it's citizenry in general. It's disgusting. And Tony and I were speaking before the show, and what compounds this even further is when you think about the number of families that may not even be able to afford health care, even with the Affordable Care Act in place, as watered down as it may be now because of the Republicans and Trump. So that's just going to add insult to injury. So you have a impoverished community, few jobs, lack of medical attention, and a complete and depraved indifference of the elected officials that are in office there to protect their interests. It's disgusting, and they seem to care more about the engines, General Motors engines being negatively impacted and corroded by the water than they do to citizens. Repeatedly, they've tried to tell the citizens and the media that the water is fine, and you could clearly go to anybody's house, turn on the tap, and see that it's not. I think as of, I'm not sure how many months ago, there were still something like 12,000 households that still needed to have their pipes replaced. So how can they in good conscience say that the water is fine? But then when you think about the political climate that we're in now, where Orwellian speech is the norm, and if you say a lie enough times, it's supposed to become the truth, it's no surprise that they're trying again to convince the people that the water is safe. But considering how there was this colossal failure on the part of so many levels of government, people lying on reports, faking test results, how can we believe anything that they say at this point?
Yeah.
And that's true. I mean, when you look at what 45 is doing in Washington concerning EPA, I think before it's all over with, because he's relaxing some of the clean water acts that have been in laws that have been enacted, you're going to see a lot more problems in many other cities. You know, for him to come out when he first got in the office to relax the waste from coal mines and saying that the wastewater could be pumped back into the river. I mean, that water is going to go downstream in some cities along the West Virginia River. They're going to use that. Rivers are going to use that water. And it's just going to contaminate, 15, 20 years from now, you'll find people having cancer because of it. So, I mean, so you don't have a friend in the White House that's concerned about this water in Flint, Michigan. And like I said, Flint, Michigan isn't the only place across the country that's having problems. Any of these older cities that have lead pipes and haven't replaced them all, you can have problems. You got in the houses. I mean, I know in the house I grew up in, there were lead pipes in the house. Okay, that's what they used in the 40s and 50s when they built houses. Were lead pipe. So I mean, it's an issue around the country. But I think Flint, Michigan has really stood out. Your thoughts, Tony?
You know what? And I want to say that you would think, like you said, that, referring to the lead piping system of yesteryear, with technology as it is today, you would think that this would not be an issue. But see, now I think there's a lot of backpedaling going on as to who the blame is going to be placed on, or who the people are that's going to be responsible for replacing these pipes, as we want to call them. But I think it's just a matter now of keeping people in water. The piping system, is going to be an issue that's going to go on for some time. So it's a matter of being able to keep people with water. I don't think it's an easy fix. I think that later on we're going to see more of a blame game. We're going to see that, there's nothing in the budget to do what they need to do to replace pipes. It's going to be a lot of red tape to get Flint, Michigan up to the standards of their water, and to do it in a timely fashion. So, my biggest concern is the piping system, of course. But when I read a little bit on it, I found that I was more concerned with the fact that, they're talking about ending the water program when, like Chera said, you still have, how many homes still that have not been repiped? Or the system itself, the city system itself has not been repiped. So to end that water program, I think is my biggest concern, because like I said, I think it's just a lot of red tape, and to place blame on who should, who shouldn't, and when it's going to be done. That's just my opinion.
Yeah. Well, we're also talking about a country where they're allowing the principles of Nestle and other companies to suggest that water is not a right. So
I saw that. Yeah, I
It's
saw that.
it's not a human right, but it's his right to sell it and have a monopoly on it, And I think somebody even went so far as to suggest that this goes the same as rainwater. It's really disgusting, but look at the products that we sell in this country. Coca-Cola can shear the rust off of an old wrench, and they let people drink it. So is it any surprise, and to go back to what Reggie said, we don't have an advocate in the White House. We certainly don't have an advocate in the EPA. And if they keep relaxing the regulations that were there to protect us, to protect the health of civilians, of citizens of this country, then of course they may well be right when they say that it's below federal identified as acceptable standards. If the federal standards have been reduced to pointless.
But the question I think too is that you need to address is that the acceptable standards for what community?
It's not a community. It's
No.
the human body. What's
Well, that's
acceptable
what
for
I'm
the human
saying.
body?
I'm saying exactly acceptable for the human body, but it's a problem when you have lawmakers and you have these, I'm going to say, backdoor scientists saying what is an acceptable level. There should be not a level that people have to put up with to say that they're not going to have lead in their system. Whether it be the piping system or whether it be the human body system. No level is acceptable.
After years of being subject to this, they probably all have compromised immune systems. And then to put out a release saying the water is safe now, except for the very young, the very old, except for the very young, the very old, and people with compromised immune systems. Well, now that's the entire city of Flint.
Exactly.
So the water's not safe.
Exactly.
They're mincing words.
I mean, you look at a city, those New York City, I know you all got problems up there. They just haven't been identified. But from a news article in U.S. News and World Report from 2016, the statement was made by the Housing and Urban Secretary at the time, stated that as Flint has taught us, neglecting our water infrastructure can present real and immediate danger. According to the American Water Works Association, this is in 2016, there are 6 million lead lines in American water systems today. Approximately 7% of homes connected to community water systems have a lead service line, and up to 22 million Americans are served by lead lines. So, like I said, the key word here is infrastructure. We pay attention to highways and bridges and power, but we're not paying attention to water infrastructure.
Well, barely that. New York, we're safe. We just have an excess of pharmaceuticals in our water from everybody dumping their drugs.
Right.
But,
oh, wow.
Yeah, they did a test a number of years ago, and they found, anti-inflammatories and antidepressants and whatnot. So,
Really?
Yeah.
That's why y'all be walking around today in Times Square, huh? Because of the water.
That's why Cher is always tired.
If only it put me to sleep, right? Knock on wood. But yeah, no.
I just want to take this time to say hello to Jacqueline, and it's like I'm going to say, is it Lisa or Lisa Greco? They are joining us here now.
Oh, hey, Lisa.
Chat. So hello to both of them. And before you guys continue on, let me mention our sponsors, Shades of Africa, in 2 locations in the city of Corona and in the city of Long Beach. Also sponsored by SPMG Media, Ms. Gina Smith, who happens to also be our I'm so out of it, our publicist. And thank you, Mr. Reggie Kearney of
Urban Sentinel
your organization, the
Urban Sentinel.
Thank you for what you do. Yeah, I'm serious. I'm so out of it, you guys.
I've been there.
Sleep deprivation. Yeah. And thank you, Miss Stephanie Jenkins of FES Protection Plan. So for more information regarding all of our sponsors, head on over to our website at hottopicstalkradio.com/sponsors. And there you can find out more information about the shows and all of the hosts. So I'm going to give it back to you guys.
Okay. Then also, I was looking at another article that was in the Hill during the same time, uh, like in 2016 also. That's basically is looking at the problem of the infrastructure of water as being a threat to national security. Okay, this came out from the U.S. Office of the Director of National Intelligence, and because there is a scarcity in water, but also because of the droughts. But there is, like again, as we stated, the problem of just having safe water, and stated there's hundreds of cities and towns in America that have this problem. So, but the thing is, what I wonder is why isn't these cities being identified? Why isn't anything being done about it?
Oh, it's just the slow path to population control. That's my theory. They don't care. Let us die out.
Yeah.
You know.
But with water, I guess if you have bad water in the pipes, I guess that's going to sell more bottled water.
Yeah, but where's that bottled water coming from? I think they've even tested some bottled water and found contaminants.
Traces of, they did. So what's the solution? Because like I say, you've got all this red tape, there's bureaucracy within the governmental system, because you're working on a budget. And like, say, for instance, their budget. Reggie, did you ever find any numbers on what the budget is on the replacement of those pipes?
No, I didn't, but I know it's up there. That's why. Let me look at it real quick. That's why
the budget on just the water alone was $450.
There was $5 million in aid from FEMA under Obama.
Yeah, but we're talking about the cost to replace.
The program was part of a $450 million state and federal package. Well, that was the replacement of water.
That was the water.
That was providing the water package. And there was a $97 million settlement with Michigan to cover the cost of replacing the water lines for at least.
So we're talking about 90 million?
97 million. And that was in 2017. And that was to replace the pipes in at least 18,000 households. Now,
when was that? When was that article written?
That was written in March of 2017.
Okay, so now we're 13 months in? So what does it take? It takes, so let's say that, they've already slated that 97 million for the replacement of the pipes. Now you've got to find contractors to be able to come in to meet that budget.
And
so could that be the problem?
No, not really, because that's one of the problems. And they said this won't be done until it would be done by the year 2019. But this is the problem you have. They're only going to do the pipes to the curb. Okay, they're not going to do the pipes of the houses. Okay, so you still haven't solved the problem. That's another issue that's come up. The pipes in the street would be replaced, but who's going to replace all the pipes in the houses? That's where your biggest problem is too. Because you can replace the pipes in the streets, but people still gonna be drinking water out of lead pipes. But that's been another issue that nobody
because see, that's a homeowner issue.
Yeah.
But Flint, Michigan is not overrun with just free money. You can't even consider that a place that you can say it's old money.
It may be a homeowner's issue, but it is the state's fault for the action they took in the first place that caused the accelerated degradation of those pipes to begin with. So they still bear some of the financial responsibility, if not all, a significant portion.
But of course they do. But then we go back to what I was saying earlier. You're talking about red tape. You're talking about bureaucracy. People want to place the blame. They want to shift the responsibility. So if that's the case, that it is a homeowner's issue, how many people will be able to afford that kind of work?
And
And who's to say that it's going to be something that's going to be a homeowners that can be taken under homeowners insurance? A lot of people don't have that kind of insurance.
Well, here's an idea. Why don't we not spend money like the $30 million that's been spent to date on flying Trump across the country back and forth to Mar-a-Lago? How about not spending $9 billion to drop a bomb on 3 empty buildings in Syria, or spending however many millions of dollars he proposes on doing a friggin' military parade? Why don't we do that?
Right.
You know, he talks about caring about the citizens and making the country great again. He talks about his care for the African American community and the country at large, but his ignoring this and so many other issues that exist in this country on a national scale proves the point that he doesn't give two shits.
Yeah, that's true. Because, okay, I'm looking at some numbers, and it says on a house that's 1,500 square feet with 2 bathrooms and with copper piping costs between $8,000 to $10,000 to refurbish, okay, to replace the piping. But by using PEX, it's a lower grade of a pipe, probably more plastic than anything. The cost would be $4,000 to $6,000. That's because of lower material and labor costs. You know, so you talking about it's going to at least
which
be
means it won't withstand.
Yeah.
It won't withstand time.
Right. And that's another problem, you know. So the homeowners, federal government throughout the country is going to help homeowners replace the piping in the house. You know, because the people can't do it, you know, and they got to realize that, you know. So it's going to be and like I said, with, you know, Pruitt sitting in the EPA, he's trying to destroy everything, every law or every act that's ever been put in place. You see where the country is going with this. And I don't know, it's scary, you know. I mean, you look at your food supply is constantly being contaminated with E. coli.
Yeah.
You know, things of that nature. You got to deal with food, the food supply chain, then you got to deal with the water.
And don't forget the air.
Yeah, and the air.
Yeah.
25 can be charged for air after a while.
You know.
Yeah. I want to say hello to Miss May Bennett. How you doing? Hello, Miss Bennett. Well, I was going to say something. You guys made me lose my train of thought. I looked up. I was looking down. I'm looking at, you know, stuff on my phone, right? And I look up and I see Cher's little smiling face, and she made me lose my train of thought. Oh my gosh. Yeah, but you know what? I think that Flint and a lot of other different communities around this nation are going to wake up 10 years later and find that because they have dragged their feet on this issue of cleaning up whatever they need to clean up to get these people fresh water or decent water. I think that they're going to be quite appalled to know how many people are going to be walking around here with diseases and other cancer issues, all kind of different health issues. And it's not just a matter of them consuming it by drinking it. You can't bathe in it. You can't, I mean, it's nothing that you can use that water for.
And look at the long term.
Want to take that chance.
Exactly. And look at the long term. You're not going to, well, not just that for a second. Let's take the health out of it, right? And just look at it from an economic standpoint. Who's going to buy homes there? Who's going to invest there? Who's going to move there?
Right.
That city is going to die. It's going to become a ghost town. And then once that happens, or perhaps even as it's happening, that's when you get the lovely urban renewal like we saw after Katrina, you know, and we've seen in so many other states.
Right.
You know?
Right. You know, I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
I didn't think of that because I always think about the human factor. And, well, I can't say that I never think about the economic factors, but I always think about the human factor of how people are affected when we talk about a holdup on things that was said to have been our right, or it's not a civil right or a human right to have. So, you know, it's a sad situation. But let me ask you guys this question. What do you think the chances of this happening in somewhere like California or even here
Easy.
in Las
Well,
Vegas?
it is a problem. It is a problem in California. I was just looking at an article. I got to bring it back up, where just about over 50% of the area from northern California down to Southern California has issues with their infrastructure. You know, Fresno was one of the cities that was featured. Fresno water is just as bad as Flint's water. Or it's
Yeah.
just as bad as Flint's water was. Okay, so you have problems everywhere. Then you look at a couple of things that have happened in that might have led up to the problems in California. You know, with having a drought, it's probably been very hard to flush pipes out and do the things that you need because of the constant droughts that
Right.
they've had.
Right.
So
Well, see, and being yeah, but see, being a former resident of California, is not just the drought that I think can be the effect or the cause of them having an issue close to what Flint is going through. You're talking about the issues of fires. When we talk about forest fires, all this gunk, it goes into the piping system.
right.
California, whether north or south, they have one of the most innovative water sewage systems in the country. They spend a lot of money on sewage systems and drainage systems. But the problem they run into has to do with the fires. They have fires, damn, seems like every day. They have what we call as a fire season, just like it rains in some portions of the country. Well, stuff catches fire in California, and it's always at a certain part of the year. What happens is that unfortunately is such a vast coverage of area that catches fire that they have to let it burn. And in doing so, what it does is it causes all this soot in the air. And I know that May would probably know what I'm talking about because she's in California and we used to work together. But we would go out to our cars, and your car is covered in black soot.
Mhm.
And this is what then drains into the sewage systems and
Right.
into the filtration. And that causes a problem because they'll tell you, like in the northern area, in those fire, I'm going to say ridden areas, in those areas, they'll tell you back off drinking the water
Hmm.
because the pipes have been, taken on so much soot that you can't drink the water. You can't go outside. The stuff gets in your eyes and your
Hmm.
hair and it seeps into your skin. So that's why I asked, do you think that this could happen in California? Because after a while, with so much burn off, then it's going to be a huge problem for them to be able to maintain that sewage system.
Hmm.
It's going to be a huge problem.
Well, that, and I'm sure it doesn't help that you've got Nestle out there sucking up all the water, in California and Arizona, and even
Yeah.
water off of the local Indian reservations as well. Um, get me started on that. It's
Well,
disgusting.
according to an article in the Los Angeles Times dated May of 2017, it states that the lead poisoning drinking water crisis in Flint, Michigan has gotten all the headlines, but California has a water contamination problem that endangers far more people and it has existed for decades. Okay, state officials knew for a generation that many Californians lack access to clean, safe drinking water, yet disgracefully, they did not begin to address the issue until 5 years ago. Around 2011, they started addressing it. So there has been a bill, Senate Bill 623, was to establish a fund to subsidize the water treatment centers there in California for over 1 million Californians who still need it. And it also says it's the last step in enabling small impoverished water systems like the state to deliver clean water to their customers. So there is a problem in California, even away from the fires and stuff, that they got pipes out
Hmm.
there too that need to be replaced. So I'm
Exactly.
pretty sure every state in this country has an issue somewhere.
Yeah, and you see in California and places like Fresno, places such as Sacramento, you find more farmland,
Uh huh.
which you find more animal life. And
Yeah.
if there's no flushing system there to drain off some of the crap that's in what is grown there and distributed to market, that is where you get more issues with E. coli, because there's no flushing system and it doesn't drain off the way it should be draining off. So California, especially Northern California, they have huge problems. Huge.
Yeah. That's what the map showed. Oakland and San Francisco had a big problem. But look, here's another caveat to the article that says racism plays a part in the contamination crisis, but so does poverty, patchwork water systems, until recent overestimation of the quality of contaminants required to trigger illness. And they say also in California, what's happening, the farmers pitting the farmers against the fish and environmentalists, and clean water advocates have had trouble catching politicians' attention with that equally important story. So I guess you got the farmers fighting against the fish and environmentalists, the fishermen and stuff like that, so I mean,
it's a huge problem, I think, for a lot of places around the country. I mean, here in Vegas, we have the worst water problem that there is. If you ever look at the news when it rains here, if we get 3 days worth of straight rain, nothing drains off. Everything is flooded. And we have what they call flash floods. And you could be standing in your street 1 minute and water just starts rushing down a hill and it's nowhere for it to go. And it settles down at the bottom of the valley. And they've been struggling with this problem for decades before I even got here. Because when I had first gotten here, it was really warm when I first got here. And all of a sudden it was all this damn rain and every street was flooded. It was the damnedest thing I had ever seen. And I kept thinking to myself, well, where is that water draining off to? And what kind of crap is in this water? And if you've got this, I forget what they call it. It's a water system that the drain off goes back into the system so that they can clean it and, I guess, reuse it. But where is that reused water going and how do we know that it's clean? So Vegas could be another Flint situation. Not only do we not have a decent drain off system, we don't have a decent sewage system in place. It's bad. It's really bad. And people don't think about that, because I always think about where is this water going and how are they, I forget the word they use.
It's like gray water systems? Is that a gray water system where they recycle like rainwater?
Exactly. And it's a form of recycling, yes. And I was trying to find the right word that they use. But it is a problem here. And Vegas could be another Flint, Michigan problem.
It may already be.
It could be.
Identified.
Just have it. Yeah. And see, I'm not one to drink faucet water anyway. I'm just not. But then again, you have to look at the fact that you don't have to consume it orally, because if there are certain issues about this water that could be contaminated, then that goes into your skin. You bathe in it every day.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing.
Here in this area in Washington, D.C., water now is at a level where Washington's water is actually better than the bottled water, okay? Because they've done a number to improve the water treatment center, treatment plants in Washington, so they've done taste tests, and most people have ended up saying they like not knowing what the water is, they like the D.C. water from the treatment plant better than they like bottled water. So you can get it right where it doesn't affect people. You can get it right. Now, I think another problem we're going to have too, especially with the like in California and a lot of places that have a lot of snow, and they have good clean springs. The thing that's happening, these water companies like Nestle, the people behind Deer Park, that's where they're getting that water from. They're going into Maine, Northern California, places like that, and they're draining the water from the runoffs of
From the runoff.
from the snow, and that water is never reaching down into the cities. Okay,
Right.
so cities are having to depend on rainwater to subsist. You know,
It's a darn shame.
yeah.
It's a darn shame.
But
let me mention our sponsors while we're right at the middle. Hold that thought. Real World News TV and the Hot Topics Talk Radio Network is sponsored by Shades of Africa. Also sponsored by SPMG Media, Miss Gina Smith, FES Protection, Miss Stephanie Warren Jenkins, and of course our very own, very handsome Reggie Kearney of the Urban Sentinel. For more information regarding our sponsors, head on over to our website at hottopictalkradio.com/sponsors. Also make sure that you follow Real World News TV. Stop yawning, Shara. Am I boring you? Oh my gosh. Make sure that you follow Real World News TV here on Facebook and join the show every Tuesday night at 5:30 p.m. Pacific, 7:30 p.m. Central, and 8:30 on the East Coast. You can also make sure to send the host a message or two. Let them know what you want us to talk about and what your concerns are, whether it be political or things in the news. All right, you guys, I'm going to give it back to you.
So, looking at this, they own a spring in Miller Canyon, California. They've had that spring for more than 10 years. And they get a lot of water from that location there. Nestle does.
Yep.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah.
Really?
Oh, yeah. And then, like Charles said, the place is located on the Morago Band of Mission Indians Reservation.
Yeah, so they're taking their water.
Yeah, taking their water. I guarantee you that water is filled with lead.
Well, the reservations, many of them are just as bad off as Splint.
Yeah.
But you don't really read about that in the papers.
Yeah, but we got Nestle Waters taking all the water off the reservation.
Yeah. And I don't understand how they're allowed to do that. If the reservation, if they're considered sovereign,
but that's protected.
Money.
Money. Of course.
Money. Okay, first you got the tribal chief. Okay, he's probably in the back pocket of Nestle. He probably got the best looking house there on the reservation. Got the biggest cars. Okay, it's about money. They're buying off these guys on the reservations. Okay. That's why you see so many reservations, especially on the East Coast. You see casinos because they figured it out. Okay, they figured it out. They have a casino, they can get bukus of money because they are a sovereign nation. They can do whatever they want to do. They're not bound by the federal laws when it comes to the money government.
Yeah,
you know, so they're getting rich. But you take a guy like the guy who owns Nestle, they're going in there and paying these guys off. You know, put a couple of basketball courts up, improve the schools a little bit, give them all laptop computers, they're happy. You know, because they got more. You got to realize these reservations, the people that live on these reservations are poor. So they're getting more than what they've had. Okay.
Well, I don't know enough now about it to be that pessimistic about them selling themselves out, but I do know that there were quite a number of people in the community, in the reservation communities, who were against it and tried to fight it and lost. And, you know, the fact of the matter is, in this administration, they're not likely to win any cause anyway. You know, they're struggling to prevent the pipelines going through their reservations. They're fighting against their water being taken, their land being taken, and they're getting hosed and tear gassed for it. So, you know, yeah.
Well, look, okay, what do you think? Okay, for California, okay, since y'all on the West Coast, you know, out there with the Pacific Ocean, what you think about water treatment plants?
I'm not near no ocean.
Well, you know, you're close. You're not that far.
I'm in the damn desert.
But in California, what do you think about filtering seawater, ocean water? And they do have the means to do that, to have good, clean water for the population there in the larger cities.
Personally, I don't think it's a bad idea because, like you said, the technology is there, the means is there. But why would they do that? Because there's so much of it. And then how are they going to justify charging you for it?
Oh no, Nestle would be out.
Full.
Nestle would be up all
saying?
up on there. They'd be like, I call dibs. This ocean is mine.
Oh,
hello, Mr. Brooks. How you doing, Al Brooks? So, I mean, I think that it would be a good idea to even look in that direction because, like I said, with technology and the means, you've got engineers that know just what to do to get that going. You really do. But I don't think that they would be able to sell you at the cost or the price of what they're selling water to you now for.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think that, because it's so vast, you have so much of it. It's so readily available. But if they can make us believe that, yes, we're in a horrible drought and California is going to turn to a desert like Nevada, why not make the move? That's, bless you, that's the way this thing works.
Yeah.
Well,
I would totally agree.
They could charge you, though, for the cost of treating the ocean water to, get out all of the salt and the minerals that our bodies aren't used to. And let's not forget, we are poisoning the oceans. They're filled with litter and plastics. So that water would have to be treated. Yeah. And they could charge
heavily
us for that. Yeah. And they could charge us for that. At first I was thinking, how would we bastardize that? Would we find ourselves in a position of the oceans shrinking drastically? But now may be the time to do that with the polar ice caps melting. Since we have the water, you have some island communities that are disappearing because they're flooding. The water, the ocean waters are rising. This would be a drop in the bucket. I don't know how many millions of gallons they would have to do in order to make a dent in that, but
Okay. I came across another article which is up to date pretty much. It's from February 12, 2018, the New Republic. They say rural America's drinking water crisis. They say sparsely populated low-income communities across the country suffer from polluted water. And injustice is expected to worsen under the current resident in the White House. Okay, and that's a shame.
But you know what? Go ahead, Reggie.
Yeah, I said they just don't give a crap.
But you know what? When you think about it, you think about the effects of lead on people's ability to think rationally, logically. It makes a lot of sense when you look at what's going on in the country now. If we're all drinking lead, especially in Middle America, then it's no surprise you've got Billy Bob Joe voting for Trump and waving his gun around and
drinking brown water,
and thinking that this is making America great again.
Yeah. Because the article states that from Appalachia, Kentucky to the Texas borderlands, millions of rural Americans are subject to unhealthy and sometimes illegal levels of contaminants in their drinking water, whether from agriculture or coal or plain old bad pipes. And that's what I'm saying. He's relaxing all the rules as far as where the waste goes from coal mines. So it's just gonna get worse. He doesn't give a crap because he's trying to put people back to work, which is never going to happen because these companies are burning clean fuel now. They're going to keep on doing that, But he's saying, hey, I'll bring the jobs back. Y'all can throw all the soot and dump all the sludge into the rivers. Who cares? Everybody be all right. Drink a little sludge tonight.
I'm trying not to even think about that person.
Yeah.
I'm just not.
Well, I tell you, you never can get away from a program without bringing him in here. He affects so much crap in this country,
Yeah. I was trying not to even make it a Trump thing.
Yeah.
Like I said, it all comes back. It all circles back to the crap that he's doing in this administration. It's unavoidable.
All about supplying the needs of his business people. And I think the idea is, okay, guys, while we're here for 4 years or 8 years, get as rich as you can, okay?
Mm-hmm. Don't you think that's what it is?
Yeah,
That is what it is.
get as rich as you can, because when we lose this White House and the Democrats come back in, they're going to take all this away from us. So we need to make our money now. If it means destroying the country, okay? If it means destroying the country, they don't care.
I'm trying not to cuss.
Oh,
Go
do
ahead.
it. Do it. Let it out. Let it out. Bring it.
Oh
Bring
my
it.
gosh, I'm trying not to
Cuss.
cuss.
Bring it out. Bring it out.
You
Albert
see what
says
else
there's
say?
been,
Yeah.
yeah. Go ahead. Go ahead,
There's
Rachel.
been reports that our bottle was contaminated as well, and I agree with them. Where's all the plastic going? Where's the residue from the plastic going, other than into your water?
Well, Jacqueline had said earlier, she said the ocean water is garbage out there where she is. Jacqueline, remind me where you are. It's not enough filters to clean that mess. So, yeah.
Yeah, we're screwed. We're screwed. Good and proper.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it just pisses me off more that you find this problem in the urban areas rather than all over.
But is it? I mean, think. It's in our juice. It's in our orange juice. It's going to be in our milk.
Well, I think right, but I'm referring to like the Flint issue.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. It is affecting all of us. It's how they clean our vegetables, and like you said, it's in our juice. It's in everything that they have to use water to process. Our foods, our drink, everything around us.
Yeah.
It's contaminated.
I will say this show's making me very
LA.
thirsty.
Yeah, but like Jacqueline said, Los Angeles also, So I think every corner of the country is touched by bad water. Okay, I don't care if you're in a town with 2 people live or a town with 4 million or 5 million people. Everybody is affected by bad water. I mean, I think that's just the nature of it all.
Yeah, you go to a town and you're looking to buy a house. It's like you're no longer just asking, is this tornado alley, hurricane alley? Now you got to ask, let me see what the water content is like.
Right.
Are there any, what do you call it, cell towers around here? The list is just growing. The number of pristine, clean places we can live is shrinking. Time to go back to the Caribbean. Time to go back to the Caribbean before they screw that up.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Where can we get good water at?
Wow.
What country? I'm moving to the country got good water. What country?
Beats me.
Alaska, maybe?
Nah.
Iceland, maybe?
Nah.
Iceland? No, not Iceland.
Yeah, Iceland probably. But also
Sweden and Denmark, and they've cut down their garbage and refuse down to like 0.
Yeah, I mean they probably got good water coming out of the Alps.
Oh, can you just taste that cool water?
You're making me so thirsty.
And you don't have little EBGBs floating around in it?
We should have called this show Cottonmouth.
Well, you know what? Because as we talk about this, I can remember and I lived in Corona before coming here to Vegas. And I used to always think, well, the water tasted okay, right? Until I had,
good water.
Filled up a pot. Yeah, but I filled up a pot and I was going to boil it. I was going to do something. I don't remember. But I did see something in there, moving. And it was just the weirdest thing. Yeah.
Like alive?
I would never. Yeah. And I thought to myself, I said, this will be the last time I use. So I cooked with bottled water. It was kind of gross. It was kind of gross.
Yeah, so what we're going to do? I mean, it's crazy. I mean,
you know what? I think that people of Flint, people all across the country, wherever we have running water, I think that, like we say every week when it comes to political issues and issues of the cities and states we live within, I think that we have to be involved in our local government. because that plays a big part. And
Yeah.
not just always thinking that we only have to go to city council meetings when there's a black or white issue. I mean, it comes down to everything that we live on, what we eat, what we drink, how we breathe our air in and out, anything. You should be going to your state and local government. You really should. You should get
We need to
involved.
get Trump out of office. We need to get EPA back on track, and we need to decriminalize
Yeah.
collecting rainwater.
Yeah. And that's the whole problem. EPA is going to be the whole problem. I mean, that's where
Yeah.
the biggest problem is going to come at with EPA.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
that's the issue because hey, they're going to tear this country apart before it gets better.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Let me say hello to Mr. James Jackson of blackprofessionalsonline.com. Thank you for joining us tonight, sir. It's good to see you. Miss Johnny K. Sweet, my cousin in the northern region. So thank you for joining us. And Miss Jackie Price, or Jacqueline, I want to be proper. Jacqueline Price and Mr. Al Brooks. It's so good to see you guys, and I really do appreciate you for joining us. Also, May Bennett. And is it Lissay? Shara, is that Lissay or Lisa?
I think it's Lisa. Greco, yeah.
Okay, Lisa.
Hey,
Greco,
cuz.
yes. And thank you to both of them for joining us as well. Make sure that you do follow Real World News TV every Tuesday night at 5:30 p.m. Pacific, 7:30 p.m. Central, and 8:30 p.m. on the East Coast. Also, make sure that you follow them on Facebook under Real World News TV. And we do invite you to visit our website at hottopicstalkradio.com. Check out some of the shows there, also the sponsors, and we've got some information there if you're looking for different resources, whether it has to do with, heck, music lessons, whatever. It's all on there. But head on over to our website at hottopicstalkradio.com. We're coming up to the end, you guys. Do you guys have last thoughts, last words?
I'm going to go get me a drink.
I guess everybody be trying to find liquor. One cooking in liquor, bathing in liquor. Might be the cream.
Hey, some Bailey's cream would be good for the skin,
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Oh, yeah.
Some rum
I'm not going
punch.
to bathe. No, I'm not going to bathe or moisturize with my Jack Daniels. I'd rather consume it.
Well, look, before we go, I want to ask our listeners to weigh in on this topic for next week and let us know if it's a good topic by hitting us up at on our Facebook page, Real World News TV Live. We had talked about maybe doing a show next week on Cosby and other individuals and just getting the public's reaction to everything that's happened to Cosby over the last couple of weeks and the things that happen to those who, haven't been taken to court yet, like Weinstein and some other guys, and especially guys sitting in the White House who haven't been convicted yet. And want you guys to weigh in and let us know if you think that's a good topic, if you all want to participate in that topic. And we want our viewers to participate by, just hitting us up on Facebook while we're live on the show. Ask us questions, bring your comments on, help us out. This is a show for the people, and we want you guys to participate. So let us know if you want us to do a show dealing with harassment, sexual harassment, the Cosby case, because one of the things I'm really looking at is, okay, he had all these women come out against him. Some of it's probably true. Now, I'm not discounting anything, but there's probably some of those women involved that they've had a memory lapse of what really happened, and they're going on. You look at what happened to Tom Brokaw, so it's a good time to topic. So weigh in and let us know if you want us to discuss that next week. If not, we'll find something else to talk about.
We'll always find something.
Somebody will do something stupid that requires commenting.
Exactly.
Oh yeah, if you need to pick up your old medical files, 45 people can go by and pick your medical files up in the doctor's office. Just send his thugs in there, and they'll steal the stuff for you. Okay. Now, quick question before we go. If OJ gets arrested for stealing his paraphernalia back, why can't Trump's people get arrested for going in and stealing his medical files?
Oh, because he's the president and they can claim that it was for national security purposes.
But that's what the fool said.
Oh my God.
That's what he said. Salah have mercy. This knucklehead. Hey, look. Okay, one more thing. I said I wasn't even but look, one more thing also. They said that the leaks came from Trump himself because they said he misspelled so many words. They said it couldn't have been nobody but Trump sitting down and rewriting the 45 questions down that Mueller had. They said there's so many misspelled words in that fax. They said they know it had to be Trump sitting down late at night, rewriting everything, then faxing it himself.
I don't doubt it.
I didn't hear that.
Yeah, I heard that today.
Yeah.
Oh, I think I heard on MSNBC. So it was funny.
OMG.
But no, the New York
he's like.
Times said it.
So wait, so they just caught him like that?
Yeah, because the New York Times they had New York Times has the exact questions, and Trump said there's no questions about collusion or anything. They got the questions. They got the right questions, and they said some kid scribbles everything down and faxes it to them saying these are the questions being, that Trump is going to be asked.
And then he'll call it fake news, right?
Oh boy,
that's nuts. That is nuts. Oh my gosh!
I can't wait.
I've enjoyed you guys.
And
what you can't wait for?
Well, I was going to say I can't wait until he's gone and we don't have to give him any more attention. But I can't believe they're talking about this whole Nobel Prize business as if there aren't a plethora of other reasons for the North and South Koreans to get together and get over this war that they've had going on for the last few decades. For one being that he's ruined his country with nuclear testing and a great landmass, and the country is falling. Is sinking because of their nuclear testing. That man has no choice. He has no choice but to build a bridge. And Trump is going to try to lay claim. And one of the guys, I forget which one, I guess it was the Southern president, South Korean president, said that Trump should be nominated for the Nobel Peace Prize. I want to know what did he give this man to make him say that? What did he give this man to make him say that? Because he didn't do anything. He can't even
spell noble. He can't spell noble, nor can he spell prize.
Right.
No, he can't spell it. So he shouldn't have it.
No, it's just disgusting, despicable, ridiculous. He can't stand that President Obama got something that he's not entitled to.
Yeah.
Well, that's what it's all about.
Mm-hmm.
They said the last two applications to the Nobel Peace Prize committee with his name on it were forged.
Mm-hmm.
So he probably wrote them, filled them out himself.
OMG, it just keeps getting better and better.
Yeah. Maybe he can get a star in somebody's outhouse out there in those red states that love him so much. They'll put a star in the outhouse for him.
Yeah, send him to the Waffle House.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm going to ask you guys this question. So it was this post out, right? And it said that we wanted to, who was it? We wanted to trade Kanye for Gary Owen, the comedian.
Uh-huh.
So who would we give trade to or trade of for Trump? Who would we take to get rid of Trump?
I'll take it.
Can we trade him to someone?
If I have to, and I think the man is touched, I'll take Mel Gibson over Trump. Mel Gibson's an asshole, but at least he's good at directing movies.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. He's good at something.
Passions of the Christ was amazing. I'll give him credit for that, even though he's a misogynistic, anti-Semite, psycho. Mm-hmm. But I'll take anybody over Trump.
Mm-hmm. Well,
who would you choose? Who would you take, Reggie?
Who would I take over Trump?
Yeah.
None of them. No, I won't bother with none of them. They can take Kanye West tomorrow. Because Kanye West, he made a real dumb statement today.
Oh my God! Wasn't that
slavery
ignorant?
was a choice? He thinks slavery was a choice.
That was.
If I could ever get my hands around that, and look, I'm sorry, but the rapper in L.A. hollered out at the Crips and told the Crips that they can get him, beat him. Okay. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Oh my God.
The man is mentally ill. I mean, he is really
No,
not. He's not well.
I think he knows.
Ever since his accident, he hasn't been writing the same lyrics.
He's not
been producing the same music.
His record sales are down. His radio playing time is down.
Because ever since the accident, they've been down. He used to be a wonderful lyricist, and then after his accident,
start the last couple of years.
All the stupid shit.
No. His accident was like 10 years ago or something. It wasn't recent, if not longer.
It's all the shit that he says that's crazy. That's making his sales decrease.
Yeah.
But
that slave is a tool.
That boy is tough.
He knows what he's saying.
Well,
I truly believe he knows.
When the Crips get a hold of him, he gonna know what he's saying. He gonna change his mind about some things.
Knock on wood. Knock on wood.
Oh, okay. So Al Brooks says that he was on an interview on the Breakfast Club, and he says that he's been on drugs.
Yeah.
That explains it, Al.
Well, he should be on medication. Hopefully, that's what he's talking about.
Yeah. Think about Kanye. He's been hanging out with the Kardashians too much. That's what his problem is.
Yeah, he's lost himself. He has definitely lost himself.
They probably the ones drugging him.
Reggie.
I got no pity for him whatsoever.
Okay.
I'm done forever. Okay.
You right, Miss Jacqueline. He is crazy as hell. Crazy as hell.
Yeah,
all right, so so we're gonna go ahead and get out of here, y'all. It's been a treat, a pleasure. Thanks for putting up with my sleepiness today, and Chera's. I think I caught you both yawning.
Him too.
You're kind of hiding it though.
Yeah, I mean,
I'm not even tired now. I gotta get up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, bless your heart. I do too.
Yeah, we got the road.
So, yeah, we're gonna get out of here, you guys. Thanks everybody for listening in and watching in. My baby daddy, Reggie, my new baby daddy.
Yeah, that's my baby mama. We're gonna have twins.
Oh.
I don't even have to go on the Murray show. I'm saying they mine now. They are mine. Them babies are mine.
I'll be your love child. I have Reggie's forehead and your hair.
Undeniable.
Oh,
definitely undeniable.
Okay.
Exhibit A.
Oh my God.
Love you guys. Take care.
Love you guys. Thanks everybody for joining in, and we'll see you back here next week on Tuesday night at 5:30 p.m. Pacific, 7:30 p.m. Central, and 8:30 on the East Coast. Thanks a lot for joining in with Real World News TV with Chair Ann Tappan and the wonderful baby daddy, Reggie Kearney. All right. All right, you guys have a good night. Good night.